Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss the 2023 take of Haunted Mansion. Not The Haunted Mansion, but Haunted Mansion, starring Lakeith Stanfield, Rosario Dawson, Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis, Chase Dillon, and Jared Leto, directed by Justin Simeon. Now, I remember the trailers were showing me things like this could be from the ride and maybe a better experience than the 2003 movie. Let's see if it is the case. Let's get into the movie. We open and set the movie in New Orleans, where we meet astrophysicist Ben Mathias, played by Lakeith Stanfield, as he meets a ghost tour guide Alyssa at a party for the new year. And off screen, and we'll see flashbacks on this later in the movie, he married Alyssa and have a happy life until she died. For what reason? I hope it tells me later on, while Ben is a tourist guide and guides 7 people, including a couple of carols, around New Orleans, and he goes through places where I've been to as I've been to New Orleans before, and I appreciated the location shots where I kind of like Ben a little more than Jim from the last movie, as he is not relatable as much as he should be when he meets Father Kent, played by Owen Wilson, as he tells him about a ghost that a woman named Gabby, played by Rosario Dawson, and her son Travis, played by Chase Dillon, as they witnessed a ghost in a mansion they moved into an hour away from the New Orleans. And the characters were just okay in this movie, as they were kind of better than the family from the 2003 movie. And I also appreciate the shots in New Orleans, as this looked good, and I believe the ride can be in New Orleans anyways, so that makes sense. Let's move back a little further, shall we? Gabby and Travis arrive at the mansion as Travis is scared of the new house, as he's the first person to see a ghost in the mansion, and he shows Gabby, and she's like, nope. And they run out of the mansion, and the mansion with ghosts will say, "You'll be back." And that's when they see Father Kent, and Father Kent gets to Ben with a cat, as he has a proposition to get a ghost catcher while putting quantum lens back together, as he goes to the mansion. And the acting in this is pretty bad, but not as worse as the 2003 movie, in my opinion. Ben gets to Gabby's mansion, and she warns him about when he enters, it will change his life like it does to them. And he also meets Travis and relates with him for this whole movie. And he takes fake photos of ghosts in the mansion, which is cheating if you're a ghost expert. As he comes home, a ghost follows him in his car and changes the channel on his TV, and he takes a photo of it and sees a ghost, and if he flashes the camera, the ghost will appear, and if he doesn't use the flash, it won't take the photograph. And I did like that trick for this movie. Ben returns to the mansion and realizes they exist, and he stays at the house with Father Kent, who appears suddenly, and the cinematography looked kind of bad in this movie. Like, it's too dark. Ben has a ghost following him to his room while Father Kent thinks about hiring Professor Bruce Davis, played by Danny DeVito, and a fraud psychic named Harriet, played by Tiffany Haddish, and get them to the house and learns about William Gracie and his wife Eleanor. Remember that from the last movie? Haunting the place with other ghosts, while Ben sees Travis is getting bullied at school, and after taking Harriet to the house, and she comes back after 2 hours because of the mansion is haunted, and follows her home. And Gracie is one of the ones who can cure the mansion, as well as Madame Leota, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Bad. It's too bad they look for. While they look for Leota, find a painting that leads to a door to get to Madame Leota, and the effects in this movie looked drastically bad, as Tiffany Haddish's performance is probably the worst thing about the movie, as she goes in a peaceful place and falls asleep twice, as a note that says talk to Leota. And I just can't take Tiffany Haddish too seriously after the comedic roles. I just can't. A ghost named Alistair Crump, played by Jared Leto, breaks the camera and drags a chair outside like the ride at Disneyland to the mud while Bruce arrives, going through the chair, moving him to the street, going to the hospital as he wants to see the house, and they get him back to the mansion, but this movie doesn't do the ride justice as far as I'm concerned. Bruce wants to find Madame Leota, and Ben does find a treasure chest with Madame Leota in there, and like the last film, this is not scary nor funny, as that may be one of the problems with making this ride into a movie. Leota explains the origins of the Haunted Mansion, and how ghosts will come to life in this world, as these effects look dreadful. Ben relates with Travis and how he talks to his father, and he tells Travis to come visit as he gives him an action figure, and relates with him, and how much Travis is an outcast, which is a shame, while playing with his toys, which was cute. I will give the movie that. Nighttime comes and Harriet connects with the ghost while Ben is in that dream, and he says Gracie tries to follow him, as he says all the ghosts, including Crump, and the audience learns he's not one of the ghosts living in the mansion, and the ghosts hide from Crump, and he goes after Ben as it possesses him as Crump. I get the impression is a demon, and I'm not thinking of the former president, I'll say. And that's something you can't put in a Disney movie. You just can't. Ben confesses his wife Alyssa was killed in a car accident, I'll say, while she loved her tater tots and ice cream from Baskin Robbins. I was a little confused by that scene, honestly, as she went off as that was supposed to be a sad moment, but Bruce ruined the moment as it was destroyed for good. Ben and Bruce go to a police station to find out what this ghost looks like, which is something from the trailer, as they learn his name is Crump, and to be fair, I didn't know what Jared Leto looked like in this movie. While it felt obvious he is the bad guy, like how many more villains has he played in minor roles like Suicide Squad, Blade Runner 2049, and now here? Give me a break. He's a better actor than this. The house stretches like in the ride, and the ground becomes quicksand, and crocodiles go after Ben and Travis while the others are trapped in a different room. And Ben and Travis escape the house from the upstairs area and get to Father Kent. And they get in his car to go to Crump Manor. And Crump possesses the others back in the mansion, while we get a tour guide named Pat, who's played briefly by Winona Ryder, as they get out of the tour and talk with the ghost, where it says, put him in the sea and give him a sacrifice, while the tour is playing It's a Small World, and the script is proving why I don't like this material as a movie. Ben and Father Kent talk Travis into going down the stairs to get a hat from the underground, and as they get back to the mansion, Ben tells Travis to stay in the car, and Father Kent confesses he's not a priest, and he works at a Halloween costume store. And Ben tells Father Kent the words he said to Ben, as they got him back in action, and they go inside and see Bruce and is a different person, and he talks with Father Kent while Travis connects with his father, and Ben rescues Gabby and Harriet, and they get Crump out of Bruce, and Crump burns the hat, and Ben learns Travis's father has been dead for a year, and Bruce stays to get out of the fire, but it unfortunately ashes, while Ben and Gabby go and rescue Travis with Gracie's help, while Travis is almost dead, and Gracie shows him to get Travis out of the death situation, and is successful and reunites with Travis to his mother, and Father Kent distracts the ghost and Harriet, going to talk with Madame Leota, and freeing her and banish Crump, while Crump almost gets Ben killed, until Father Kent gets the ghosts and Harriet gets to them, as well as Father Kent to get Madame Leota and almost bury Bruce, but Travis comes in to get him out, and they put Crump in hell, as these effects look pretty bad. And Madame Leota and the ghosts move on in a boat as we get out of the mansion, and Ben decides to adopt a cat named Tater Tot after Alyssa's favorite food, and gives Alyssa's stuff away, and he'll never forget her as he goes to a Halloween party with Gabby, Travis, Harriet, Kent, and Bruce, and have dinner together. And this climax was not great, but I did like the cat being named Tater Tot, as that was cute. Now it's time for my rating. I'll give this movie a 4.2 out of 10. This is a better movie than the 2003 movie, as this has okay characters, as they kind of do a better job with the characterization, and I appreciated the shots at New Orleans, as it took me back to when I was there, and I didn't mind that. The cinematography looked kind of bad, as the effects looked drastically bad, and the actors did fine in their roles, but Tiffany Haddish is the worst performance in this movie, in my opinion. One of the problems with making this ride into a movie is, as it doesn't do the right justice. You can't make good characters out of these movies, as this is a mild non-recommendation for both the 2003 and 2023 versions of this ride. And Disney, whatever you do with an exception of Pirates of the Caribbean, don't make any more rides, theme parks into movies, as this and Jungle Cruise is a perfect example on why not to make any more rides into movies. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for this Haunted Mansion retrospective, and until then, don't you make no spirits come out at me. Wait till I leave until the spirits, and then you can get the spirits to come out.